Hello everyone! Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. My name is Emmy, and on this channel I like to talk about budgeting, how I manage my money, and how I am trying to get my family of four out of over $200,000 worth of debt. So as I mentioned in my previous video, I have been budgeting for about 4 years now, and I've tried several different budgeting techniques, I guess you could say. Different ways of budgeting. I have tried the Dave Ramsey method. I have tried the Budget Moms workbook. I've even watched Jordan Page, her YouTube channel, and I've kind of learned and adapted throughout these 4 years and figured out a style of budgeting that works for me, because not everybody budgets the same. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and preface this by saying I am by no means a budget expert. I am, in debt. So this is something that I realize works for me and my family. It keeps me organized. Just because this works for me doesn't necessarily mean it will work for you. But that's why we're here on YouTube, to kind of share ideas with each other. And maybe there is something you can take away from this, because my budgeting method was a bunch of other techniques all mushed together into one. So who knows, maybe you'll get something out of this too. If you like budgeting content, if you like seeing how I lay out my budget, if you want to stick around with me on this journey to pay off our debt, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I really, really do appreciate it. Also, comment and like. Thank you, thank you. So let's get started. I usually do my budget on an Excel spreadsheet first, just to get all of my numbers in line. And once I'm happy with the way things look on the Excel spreadsheet, and there's formulas that are doing all of the math for me, I can then transfer all of my numbers onto pen and paper, because I'm somebody who likes pretty things and stickers and such. So what you're looking at here is actually a budget kit that I created myself. I even did the doodles on this washi. It's still something I'm experimenting with, so I'm not quite ready to post this on Etsy or anything, but I'm still working on it, still trying to see if there's things I can tweak about it. But if this is something you are interested in, leave me a comment down below and we'll see what we can do. All right, so when I budget for the month, what I like to do is have on the very front is kind of an overview of what my month will look like. So I know today is March 11th, so March is already kind of done with, and I've already created my March budget on my Excel spreadsheet. But I wanted to show you how I then transfer from my Excel spreadsheet onto my pen and paper, what that looks like. So what I do is I first have to write down all of the income that I'm expecting for the month. After I write down my income, I go on to bills. Now, some people go next into what's called fixed expenses, but I don't like the term fixed expenses, because I know that technically means bills, but like things such as the power bill or the water bill, those things fluctuate sometimes, and so they weren't necessarily fixed to me. So I didn't like the term fixed expenses. I just changed it to bills. These are things that must be paid no matter what. So after all of my income, I must pay these things. That's bills. Whatever is left over, I write that down. Then after that, I go into my debt payments. These are minimum payments that must be paid every month. Again, these things have to be paid. So that's what I go to next. Then whatever is left over, I bring over here to expenses. And this is what some people call variable expenses. Yes, these things do vary, but I don't include bills or anything under this. These are like what some people would call their cash envelope spending. And I'll talk about cash envelopes in a different video. But then once I put all of that down, then whatever is left over, that's what goes into savings. And then whatever is left over after I put things into savings, that would be my rollover into the next month, or it could be an additional debt payment, which is what I'm doing now and what I have been doing in January and February of this year. And then down here, I just have a summary of everything, what I'm budgeting my income, bills, debts, expenses, and savings to be, and their actuals here. So let's fill this out together, shall we? Okay, so I went ahead and filled out the budget spread, and I drew some lines to kind of keep everything separated. These lines are a little crooked and it's bothering me, but pretend like you don't notice it. So I thought I would walk you guys through my budget. Let me zoom you in. Thank you all for being patient as I'm learning the ins and outs of this. Okay. So when it comes to income, my husband gets paid once a month on the 25th of every month. So because of that, our monthly budget actually runs from the 25th of the month prior until the next 25th. So this was his February 25th paycheck. I get paid every other Friday. And in the month of March, that means I get paid twice. So my husband is a salary employee. His pay is the same no matter what. This is what I would pay, or what I would get paid if I worked my normal hours. If I get paid for overtime work, then I get paid more, but this is like the minimum of what I would get paid for every paycheck. I have a line here for reimbursement. Sometimes my husband, as a teacher, he has to purchase supplies for his classroom and then he gets reimbursed by the school fund. So we are anticipating a reimbursement this month. I also filed my taxes, the state and federal taxes last month. So I'm anticipating our refund this month. I hope, because that's a lovely amount of money that we could use to pay off some debt. And then sinking funds. This month, I plan on using $75 from our entertainment sinking fund for an upcoming fundraiser. So if that happens and we spend $75 from that sinking fund, it's going to be paid using that. So this is like considered an income for me. I don't know how to explain it, but so the $75 coming from the entertainment sinking fund, I'm using that as part of the total income. So let's calculate the totals here, shall we? Yeah, we do. So our total income for this month is hopefully 17,037 and 1 penny. All right. That's hoping we get our taxes back. So the next part of my budget I like to do, there we go, is the bills. These are things that must be paid no matter what. So out of all of this, we have internet, we have our car insurance, we have daycare. My daughter, who is 1 year old, goes to daycare 2 times a week. So that's $253 every month. My 5-year-old son takes piano lessons, so that's $60 a month. We have my husband and my cell phone for AT&T. We have our monthly power bill, our monthly water bill, my husband's iCloud account, my iCloud account. We have a subscription for Amazon Prime and Amazon Video. This is so we can watch Prime on the TV. My husband also has a Spotify subscription, and we were using Acorns. It's like a investment app. We used it for a couple of months. I think my husband opened it in like October or November, and it was working all right, but we just weren't using, we didn't see as much, what's to say, like we just didn't like it so much. But my husband doesn't know how to close the account, so as of right now, like we took all of our investment money back out, but we don't know how to close the account. So it's $3 a month until we can close the account. So out of all of those bills, let's tally those up, shall we? All of our bills come out to $982.19. So what I have here is what is left over. So that means what is left over when I take the income that I expect to make minus the total of bills. So that would be $17,037.01. Oh, not plus. Minus the bill total of $982.19. That means we are left with $16,054.82. Can you guys see that? Nope. We are learning. Okay. 482. So that's what's left over. I'm bringing down that leftover to here. You can't see that at all. There we go. I'm bringing it down to the debt payment. So that way I can visually see this is what I have left over. These are things that, again, must be paid, minimum payments every month. The debts that we have are our house payment, obviously, the Wells Fargo credit card that we have, a Capital One credit card that we have. These are the minimum payments we have to make every month, and then a car payment for my husband's car. So the total for all of that debt is $1,435.67. So what I do now is I take the debt total away from how much is left over in our budget. So we had $16,054.82 left over minus the debt total. And so our leftover for the month would be $14,619.15. Moving on over to the expenses. Now, although these are not payments that need to be made, these are still things that are necessary for my family to survive every month. Things like groceries, food, gas for our car. So you'll see. Let me go ahead and write down the leftover balance from our debt payments up here. Y'all, this is really tripping me out that our leftover numbers are this big because normally we are not left with that much money. We are not usually expecting $11,000 in tax refund, so the number is usually not this extravagant. Okay. When it comes to food, I group groceries and eating out all in one category because if one week we happen to buy a lot of groceries, that means we don't eat out as much. Or if we're really busy and I don't have time to cook and we eat out a lot, then I'm not spending all this money on groceries. So it kind of evens out. So it's all grouped into one category here. And I've noticed that we spend about $200 a week for my family of 4. And in March, from February 25th to March 25th, there are 4 weeks. So 4 weeks for $200 a week, that is $800 a month in food. I know some of you guys are looking at that and being like, you need to cut down on your food budget. I know. And it is high, and I still want it to be cut down. But like, I'm talking in 2021, this food budget was like $1,500 a month. Like, we were very irresponsible with how much we were spending on groceries that was like food we ended up like it would go bad before we could use it, or we'd eat out all the time, or it was a lot. And so the fact that we basically cut it in half in just a couple of months, I know it's still a lot and I know we can do better, but I'm going to praise the success that we've seen. I'm going to praise what we've been doing. So it is going to continue to get better. All right. Again, some numbers you guys might not be too happy with, but we have an allowance, my husband and I, for us to spend on whatever. This could be like a coffee, or if I wanted to hang out with my girlfriends, or he wanted to hang out with some of his friends. This is the allowance that we get. He gets $100 for every week and I get $75 every week. I get a little bit less because I do work from home, so I don't really go out so much. He's out and about because he goes to work, and so he's more likely to go get a coffee or to go get lunch or something, whereas I pretty much stay home. And so I still have money if I wanted to buy something off Etsy or whatever, but I just don't need as much. And we're noticing that my husband actually isn't spending all of his, so we might be cutting his down for the month of April, but we'll see. Gas is ridiculous. It's so expensive. It's going up. So I've budgeted $360 for March. So far, we're doing pretty good with that. But who knows? I mean, who knows? Unbudgeted, if there's anything that comes up that we weren't expecting, I don't budget anything for that, but there's a category for it. And then, like I said, I plan on spending $75 for a fundraiser. So all of those expenses added up will be it is $1,930, is that right? Yeah, $35. Okay, so if I subtract that from our leftover total, we are now left with $12,684.15. So dragging all that down here to the savings. So we currently have a savings account where every time we swipe our debit card, at the end of every day, it takes like a percentage and moves some of what we have spent in our checking account into our savings account. It's something that just happened when we opened our account with Wells Fargo. There's nothing we can do to change it, but it's not bad. So like, we pay our bills through our checking account. So if there's a day where a lot of bills are automatically drafted out of our checking account, then that means it's going to take a percentage of that and move it into the savings account. So we don't really use this feature so much, but we noticed that there tends to be an additional $10 that gets moved into savings because of all the transactions that we do. Now, if there's anything left over at the end of the month, usually I will add that into savings, but because we have so much debt, all of our leftover stuff that we have, I plan on making an additional debt payment with that instead of adding it here to my savings account total. And I'm also saving to buy a new car. I currently have a car that is completely paid for, but it's kind of old. It's a 2006 Hyundai, and so it's in need. I'm in need of an upgrade. So I'm starting to save up for a car. It's not much, but you know, every little bit helps. So let me drag down our totals here. And 15 cents. Okay, so then that means at the end of this month, we are looking to save a minimum of $110. So with our leftover, we should have $12,574.15 left over. Like I said, that's very weird to me. We usually do not have that. So like, for example, if I were to get rid of the $11,000 income tax that we are expecting, like this is more like what we would have left over, around $1,000. This is $1,500 left over if we stick to our budget. So it seems like a big number right now, but only because of our tax refund that I'm expecting. So let's move down to our summary, shall we? So my total budgeted income, and what I do is I just look at the bottom of all of these. Hang on, if I zoom you out, you might be able to see better. So yeah. So if I take all of these from the bottom of each of my tables, I'll be able to fill this out much easier. So my total projected or budgeted income, $17,037.01. My total bills was going to be $900. $82.19. Total debt was going to be $1,435.67. Total expenses was going to be $1,935. And then my total savings was projected to be $110. Okay. So then based on this table, what you do is you take your total income, subtract all of that, and that should be what you are left with for the remainder of the month. And it's going to be a really big remainder for us this month because of the tax refund. So it says we should have $12,574.15 left over. That matches what I have here. Great. Means I didn't goof up on my math. So with all of that left over, like I said, I plan on making a debt payment. With the tax refund, we're going to completely pay off my Capital One credit card is what I'm hoping. Yeah, so we'll have another video about what we're going to do with our tax refund, but I just kind of wanted to show you how it is I plan out my monthly budget every month, how I organize everything, make it look pretty, and a way for me to completely visualize what's going on. This is like my summary of the month. And then later on, I create other spreadsheets to talk about my different sinking funds or weekly check-ins and things like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Stay tuned for more budgeting videos. I'm going to break down how it is I do my cash envelopes, how I do my sinking funds, how I do my weekly check-ins. So please subscribe if that's something you are interested in. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.